If you've ever used icons like these to indicate status, it's quite likely you use conditional formatting icon sets to do it. Conditional formatting icons are great, but you are limited to the icons that are built into the feature. What if instead of these green and red arrowheads, we wanted to do something like green checks and red X's, or maybe happy faces or sad faces? The emoji library built into Windows can be used to give your Excel files access to hundreds of other icons. So let's see how we can provide this conditional formatting experience by unleashing hundreds of different possibilities and doing it all without actually using the conditional formatting feature. At the end, I'll show you how we can use this feature to set up an icon threshold, because sometimes you might not want the icon for all situations. So if you have a low threshold, maybe I want to see the icons, but if I have a higher threshold, I may only want to see options that meet that threshold. Be sure to download this starter file along with the solution file from the link in the video description so you can follow along. Our first example will focus on getting access to that full emoji library. Here we have a proper data table named Table 1, which has the total sales for each month over a 2-year period. We're going to create a column that's going to hold that emoji indicator. So next to sales, we're going to create a new column, but I don't want this column to have a heading. Now, proper data tables have to have headings, so I'm going to cheat a little here and just enter in a space. So that creates a column with an effectively hidden heading. The formula for this column will be to calculate the difference month over month. So if we were in February, the formula for this would be equals, and then we're going to take the February sales and deduct from that the previous month's sales. When I hit enter, here are the differences month over month. Now, because January does not have a month to perform this deduction, we get an error. So to suppress this, I'll go back into the formula and wrap this inside of an if error function. And the if error says, if we perform this and it results in an error, then show nothing. And nothing is defined as 2 consecutive double quotes. Close parentheses, enter. So January does not have anything displayed. I actually don't want to see these values. I want to see a green up arrow if we increased sales and a red down arrow if we decreased sales. Now, conditional formatting can do this, but you're limited to the icons that are pre-programmed. Since we want to have almost unlimited access to icons, we're going to pull this formatting trick off with custom number formatting. On the home ribbon, we'll go to the numbers group and we're going to click the extended options button. We'll go down to the custom category and we're going to write our own custom number format. This video is not intended to be an in-depth tutorial on custom number formatting, but I would highly encourage you to do a little Google search and read up on the topic. Custom number formatting has tremendous potential. For our simple example, we're going to tell it that any positive value will be an up arrow and any negative value will be a down arrow. So those will be the emojis. But we can also define what color we want those emojis to be. We define the positive values first, and if the positive values are going to be green, we can type in a square bracket green. Now we give it the emoji. In Windows 10 and Windows 11, you can access the emoji library by holding down the Windows key and pressing the period key. In my emoji library, I have scrolled to the symbols section, and here I'm going to use the check and the X. One of the limitations of using emojis in Excel is Excel doesn't have the ability to retain the full artistry. Excel will end up simplifying these images a bit. Perhaps one day in the future, we'll be able to retain full artistry. But with this simplification, we actually gain extra flexibility, and that is the ability to change color. So I'm going to pick this green check in a box. Semicolon. Now we define how negative values will appear. Since I want a red X, I'll put in square brackets, red, and then I'll hold Windows period, and then I'll select the X in the box. When I click OK, I will have formatted the January cell. Now I just realized I forgot to highlight the entire column when I did this. So what I can do is go to that cell and go up to Format Painter and give that a click, and then highlight the other cells in this data. I could then make the column skinnier. Now for my money, these particular shades of red and green are not very appealing. The green has a very neon-y kind of look to it. I have a sheet here called Colors. Custom number formatting in Excel has access to 56 different built-in colors, and this will give you a list of every one of those colors. Although I have defined the hex and the RGB codes for these colors, you unfortunately can't assign color by hex or RGB codes. So these codes are here just for your reference. I'm thinking this color 10 green is going to be a little easier on the eyes than the neon color 4. Likewise, the color 30 red is going to be a little easier on the eyes than color 3's red version. So we'll go back to the spreadsheet. I'm going to select all of those cells in that column, go back to the extended options of the number format. So instead of putting green in the square brackets, I'll put color 10 because that's the more subdued green color. And then instead of red, I'll put color 30. I'll click OK, and this is now more pleasing to the eye. So you can use any emoji that you want from the library and make any of those emojis one of 56 different colors. As an extra bonus step for this, perhaps I'd like to show the percentage change month over month. So we'll create a new column, and this column I also don't want a heading, but I can't call it space because that's already in use, but I can call it space. To calculate the percentage difference month over month, I'll go to February, I'll type in equals, we'll take the February sales, subtract from that the previous month's sales, and then divide that by the previous month's sales. Because we need the subtraction to occur before the division, we'll have to observe our order of operations and place the subtraction within a set of parentheses. I'll hit check. We'll give this a bit of percent style formatting. And now we see our percent change month over month. Because we don't want to see the pound value error because January has no prior month, like before, we'll wrap this formula inside of an if error function. And we'll tell it if there's an error just to show nothing. I'll tighten up the column, and there's our final report. The behavior of this solution will produce an icon for every entry in the table. But what if we don't want an icon for every entry, only for the outlier entries, like an exceptional change either in the positive or negative direction? So let's set up a threshold that says unless our month-over-month change is greater than 25,000 in either direction, we don't want to see the icon. That way we can focus on the dramatic changes in the data. I've placed a number in cell F2 of 25,000, and I've named that cell threshold. Let's create a new column called space. This will extend our table. Beginning with February, we need to see that when February sales are subtracted from January, is the value greater than 25,000 or less than negative 25,000? Because we have to check two things, we're going to use an AND function. Our AND function will test to see if the result is within the normal range of behavior. So we'll start with an equals AND. Our first test will be to see if the current month's sales minus the previous month's sales is greater than or equal to the negative version of the threshold. So this would be the bottom end of the acceptable range, comma. The second test will be to see if the current month's sales minus the previous month's sales are less than or equal to the threshold. Close parentheses, enter. Anywhere there's a true, the difference month over month is between negative 25,000 and positive 25,000. If it's false, it means the change was rather dramatic, either in the increase range or decrease range, in other words, outside of 25,000. Now that we have our true-false test, let's go back to the function, and we'll place this inside of an if function. So our test will decide if it's true, we're in the normal range. I'm going to expand my formula bar. If it's in the normal range, we'll display 0, comma. If it's outside of the normal range, then go ahead and perform the normal calculation. So we'll take the current month's sales minus the previous month's sales. Close parentheses for the if, press enter. So everywhere the change was within the normal range, we get a 0. But if it's outside the normal range, in other words, greater than 25,000 or less than negative 25,000, we want to see what that value is. Because we don't want to see the pound value message for the first month, we'll take this if and we'll wrap it inside of an if error function. And that way, if all of this is an error, we'll just show nothing. Close parentheses, and that suppresses the January error. This will be the formula to calculate the value, but now we'll use custom number formatting to turn those values into symbols. I'm going to select that column, go to the extended options for the number formatting, go to custom, and for this one, I'd like to have a green diagonal up arrow and a red diagonal down arrow. So in square brackets, I'm going to use that color 10, which is, to me is a nice shade of green. Win period to get access to my library, and I'm going into the symbol section, specifically the geometric symbols, and I'm going to pick this up diagonal arrow. Semicolon to separate the positive definition from the negative definition, and the negative definition will be in square brackets, color 30 for that darker red, and then win period, back into my geometric symbols, and I'm going to pick this downward diagonal arrow. I'll hit OK, and now I have my red and green arrows. I'll tighten up that column. Remember, our objective was to not show arrows for the normal activity, changes less than 25,000 in either direction. The green and red arrows are defining what positive and negative values look like. But because some of these numbers were zeros because of the if statement, zeros are treated as positive numbers, and so all of the zeros are getting a green up arrow. Let's select those cells again, go back to our deep dive for number formatting, and in the custom number format, we need to add a final semicolon, because everything before the first semicolon is for positive numbers, the second piece is the negative numbers, this third piece will now be for zeros, and if we don't define anything here, zeros are effectively rendered invisible. I'll hit OK. Now we see the green and red arrows only appear for values over 25,000. If I were to change that to 25, everybody gets an arrow. If I change it to 50,000, very few arrows. So now our threshold can be customized. As before, if you wanted to know the actual percentage change month over month, we could create another column. I'll call it double space, just because I don't want to show a heading. And I'll go back to the first version, find that formula, and just copy it, Control-C, and then come back to this spreadsheet and paste it. And I'll tighten up the column. My threshold was defined as a dollar value change, but you could also write that threshold as a percentage change. You just have to use a different formula. So maybe if it's over 25% change in either direction, you want to see the arrows. I've performed a bit of beautification on my formula, and if we look in the formula bar, notice we're performing the sales minus B1 calculation 3 times, twice for the comparison operation, and once for the final operation if it's outside of the range. Well, if you have hundreds of thousands of transactions, then you have to multiply this hundreds of thousands by 3, and you've exploded the number of calculations that have to occur. Whenever I see the same calculation occurring multiple times in the same formula, the first thing that jumps into my mind is the word let, because Excel's let function allows us to perform the calculation one time, store the answer in a variable, and then just use that already calculated answer in a series of other operations. Let's see how we can rewrite this formula with a let function and improve performance. If you've watched any of my other videos, you've likely encountered my love of the let function. So let is going to allow us to greatly reduce the number of redundant calculations. So in column C, where our symbols are going to go, we'll start with a let function, and then we're going to define 2 variables. One is going to hold that threshold calculation. The name of this variable will be thresval for thresh value, and thresh value will just hold whatever is in the named range of threshold. Let's drop to another line. My second variable will be the redundant calculation, the difference calculation. So I'll name that one diffcalc. And that will be the calculation that takes the current row's sales and deducts the previous month's sales. In this case, it would be cell B1. Now that's a relative reference, so that will change when the formula iterates through the table. Now that we have created those 2 variables, we can go write our if statement that has the ands. Because we want to suppress any error messages generated by the first month, we'll start with an if error. Then in the if error, we'll start an if statement. And the if statement's test will be 2 tests controlled by an and. This is where the let function really starts to pay off, because now we can just say, take the difference calculation and see if it's greater than or equal to a negative version of the threshold value, comma, that's our first test. The second test will be to see if the difference calculation is less than or equal to the threshold value. Close parentheses for the and. There is our test for the if. If that and test yields a true, I want to display a 0. If the and test yields a false, go ahead and display whatever diffcalc is holding. That closes the parentheses for the if. And then finally, if there's an error, show nothing. Close parentheses for the if error, close parentheses for the let. I'll press enter, and we're getting the same behavior. Let me reduce my formula bar. If I change my threshold to 25, everybody gets a calculation and an arrow. If I change it to 50,000, very few get a calculation and an arrow, because very few fall outside of that threshold range. 25,000, about half of them. And there you have it, a super cool way to use the emoji library to generate icons as responses for Excel formulas. Do it for everybody. Do it only for those based on a defined threshold using traditional Excel functions, or maybe make it a little more professional using a let function. Let me know your thoughts about these in the comments, and don't forget to download these files from the link in the video description so you can check out all of the formulas and have access to the full 56 color library code set. Thank you for watching, and remember, at BCTI, the learning never stops.